Alright guys, today on Midwest Long Range, we're going to test a little theory out with some 22 ammo. We got Chris's Vudoo 360 back in Kenny. It's now got a 24-inch Krieger barrel on it. Kenny spun up for him. Gun seems to have really good promise. And we're going to test the theory out. We're going to take some SK Long Range, and we weighed it on a Matchmaster scale, and we're going to see if there's any variance in the way this shoots and the variance that's seen on the scale and charge weight. We got some rounds here that's cold that's actually in the box. I think we culled about 13 out of a box of 50, and those range anywhere from 51.1 to 51.9, and then we picked out 4 that seemed to be the average of what was in the box. Hopefully we'll see if this correlates with accuracy down range with what we see on the scale.
Dalton broke down the 3 different weights as far as these rounds go, basically from 51.30 to 51.39, and then you move to 54, and so on and so forth. So, what do you think? 5-shot group at each one? Yep. So that's what we'll do. We'll start with 51.3, and we'll shoot a 5-shot group at 100 yards. I don't want to do 50 because I think at 50 we're not going to see the variance. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5. So 51.3 is the weight on this SK long range match at 100 yards. I'm gonna start at the right point of the diamond. Went a little high on my 0. Holy shit.
Jesus Christ.
So that's 51.3, and that looks really promising. We may be on to something. Now we're gonna try our next batch, 51.4. As excited as I am, I'm also disappointed, because if this holds true, then that means to get the kind of consistency I would like to see out of my guns due to the ammo I'm running, I would have to go through and weigh out all of my ammo, probably cutting my brick size down considerably to my match capable shooting ammo. So as excited as I am, it's a double-edged sword here, guys. There we go. We're going to the bottom of the diamond, 51.4. Should have adjusted my 0, but I didn't. Not as good as my first group, but very little vertical dispersion. I did see a little bit of horizontal, but I can see them, I can tell in the scope we do have wind down there at 100 yards, so some of that could be attributed. I'm not going to just blame all of it on the ammo, but could have been. All right, so now we're going to 51.5. All right, now we're going to left point on the diamond. I am going to adjust my zero slightly. All right, here we go. All right, sorry about that, but my camera battery died. I didn't realize it was that low. But you can see down there, I've got 3 basically in a hole together and 2 just slightly removed from that hole. And that was 51.5. Now we're gonna move over to the 51.6. I'm thinking that it may be interesting, since I have a few rounds left of all of these, that at the end of this, to basically look at it like you would have in a situation where you were just shooting out of the box and they were not sorted. We may take one of each, as well as one of the cold, one of the ones we pulled out of this batch altogether, make a 5-round group out of that, and just see how it stacks up. Because so far, this thing's shooting really good right now. There we go, 51.6. That one went out right. That was a hard bolt close right there. Oh, that one just felt different altogether. Not a bad group, but not as good as the others. So what we'll do now is we'll simulate as if we were pulling out of a box. I'll load up a round out of each one of these as well, one of the cold ones. Load it up. This would be as if we just pulled them straight out of the box and just went with it. I'm going to I guess I'm just going to hold on the middle of the diamond. I may sling them over into some of the other groups. I don't know that I want to do that. I'm going to move up to a different point and we'll shoot that group up there. Don't hit the GoPro. I might just be full of myself then. Holy crap.
What?
It's shooting. It didn't care.
Didn't matter.
It did not care.
Calm it down.
Now I'll be curious to do that again.
Yeah.
Do a repeat of it and see if it happens. I mean, if this is how it's going to shoot at 100 yards, then
yeah,
I'm sold. We'll have to see what it does at 300 yards. Got a little bit, that group's a little bit bigger than some of the others, but I don't know. We'll move this little rodeo on down to the target and go, or at least maybe go get the target and bring it back and see what we think from there. So bear with us, I'll be right back. All right, guys, so that kind of concludes our, what do you want to call it, weight testing of SK long range match. So we were having a conversation with a fellow shooter and a good friend of ours, and that kind of prompted what happened here. Literally in the middle of the call, Dalton runs off, grabs a box, and on my Matchmaster scale goes to weighing out a 50 round box of shells. And as you can see there, you know, some of the difference. Well, yeah, no, don't get me wrong. The 51.13 and the 51.1 or 51.3 and 51.5, they are, which I'll have a picture of this we can put up in the background, but he and I are going to look at it here. You know, these two groups would lead you to believe that there may be something going on.
Absolutely, yeah.
But then, just a tenth away from them on either side,
it's too narrow of a window to really be consistent, and it didn't show consistent results.
Yeah, and then when we jump up, and as you guys saw, I went through and I grabbed a shell out of every single one of those boxes, and I did mix 1 and mix 2. The tightest group I shot out of all of this came out of mix 1, and that was a .443 inch at a .423 MOA. So, I mean, that's cooking at 100 yards for a rimfire gun.
It doesn't seem like to me, even what variants we are seeing, it's not worth the trouble of going through and weighing every round.
Yeah.
What you see here, what little variance there is, as I said, it's not consistent enough to really say that it's conclusive data. And what there is in variance, I personally wonder if you couldn't work out with a tuner.
Possibly. As you can tell though, my gun is not set up for a tuner. We're going to try to avoid that for as long as possible. If I have to, later on down the road, because where we get into that is, right now there's just not a lot for me to mess with.
Yeah.
We find the ammo it shoots and we stick with it, right? But
right now,
if lots become harder to get a hold of and stuff like that, we may have to venture down that road. And then I'll be like, hey, Kenny, thread
the barrel.
Right here. We put a tuner right here. But I don't want to mess up my logo. He lasered my logo on there.
That's good. It does.
Yeah. So far, you know, we're a couple videos in now looking at the Vudoo. For you guys, these are probably a couple of weeks apart, 2 or 3, something like that. For us, we did this in a day.
Yeah.
So today I did the SK ammo testing with rifle match and center X and semi-auto and long range match, and then we turned around and on a whim we decided, hey, this sounds like a good idea, let's go test this. But guys, I appreciate you watching, and the Vudoo will continue to be on here. We're gonna go shoot some matches with it. I'm gonna keep checking this Maven out and see what we think about it, run it in some different scenarios. But that's all we got for today, and I appreciate you watching. I can't talk. But stay safe and get out there and go shooting. See you next time.